If you're a woman who's been sending out applications for months and hearing nothing back, if you got laid off and watched your whole industry dry up, if you're a woman working full time and still can't get ahead, this video is for you. The ground has moved under a lot of women, and if you're waiting for it to go back to how it was, you're going to be waiting a long time. So, I want to talk about how to think about money so that no company, no economy, and no administration gets to decide what you're able to build. Money buys you options, and options are what freedom comes down to: where you live, whether you can see a doctor, whether you can leave a situation that's hurting you, whether you can take a week off without everything falling apart. A woman with money can say no, and a woman without it usually can't. So, luxury is beside the point here. What matters is how much of your own life you get to decide. Go ahead and click subscribe because this is the kind of thinking that changes your financial future. And you might not recognize opportunities at all because nobody ever taught you to look at your own skills and ask what could be built with them. You know how to braid hair, so that's a skill you have. Somebody else with that same skill has a shop, a chair rented out, and a booked calendar. You're good at organizing. And somebody else built a business out of coming into people's homes and doing that for money. And I'm not going to sit here and act like money and resources don't matter because they do, but the skill itself is already yours. So, what do you do with it from here? Let me give you an example from my own business. I had a skincare line, and one of my products was a body butter called Shimmery Glimmer. Basically, a body butter with shimmer in it so your skin looked incredible. I opened the business in February of 2023, made one piece of content for it showing all the shades, posted it on TikTok, and that video is still my best performing piece of content to this day. Then Beyonce announced the Renaissance tour and the inquiries started coming in. People were putting in orders telling me that they needed it for the Renaissance concert, which I hadn't even realized that my product gave off a vibe that made people think of Beyonce and her brand and the era her music was in at that time. I had the right product at the right time, and that's what an opportunity looks like when you catch it. So look at what's already happening around you and figure out where you fit into it. Look at other people's audiences and what those people are already buying because you might have something that complements it. If you're around people who like the same things you like, there's usually a market sitting right there. So you have to stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself. You were trained to earn, which means waiting for somebody to hire you, promote you, or pick you. Creating works the other way. You look at what you already know how to do and you build something with it, whether that's a business, a digital product, consulting, freelancing, content, or licensing something you made. Every skill you have is a possible income, and you're probably sitting on three or four you've never thought to charge for. And creativity is an economic advantage. Every business started as somebody noticing a problem and deciding to solve it. But scarcity kills creativity. When you're panicked about rent, you can't think creatively, and you can't think creatively because you can't see the opportunities that would get you out of the panic. Everything you build into yourself keeps paying you long after the work is done. A skill you learned 5 years ago is still making you money today, and the person you helped back then refers business now. That reputation you built handling one project well is what gets you the next three without you having to pitch for them. And every win you get makes you willing to try something bigger. So each success makes the next attempt easier. And you'll be tempted to walk away right when it's about to start working. Money follows value. So the question to ask yourself is, how do I become more valuable? Because opportunities start finding you once you are. And when it comes to money in general, my grandfather died a multimillionaire, and the thing he always told me was that you have to make your money work for you. He was telling me this throughout my entire life until he passed, and I had no clue what he meant at the time. He'd say, "We make our money work for us." As a grown woman, I finally understand it. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just how I think about it. But if you've been matching your 401k with your company or maxing out your Roth IRA, and you can borrow against those accounts, that's one form of making your money work for you. You borrow against it and you bet on yourself and you invest in your own dream instead of only investing in somebody else's. Because when your money is sitting in a 401k, you're funding other companies and their goals. Some of them go belly up, some of them drop in value, and your money drops right along with them. You don't have as much control over that money as you think you do, but you do control your own work ethic. And if you know you have the determination to build something evergreen for yourself, then it's on you to figure out what making your money works for you looks like. And do not build one income stream. Build multiple ways for money to find you, which means multiple skills, multiple platforms, multiple audiences, and multiple assets. One income is one decision away from disappearing, and you already know that if you've ever been laid off. But this is psychological as much as it's financial. When you have four ways to make money, you negotiate from a completely different position. You walk away from bad situations faster, and you sleep better at night because no single person is holding your whole life in their hands. And what you believe is possible determines what you go after, because you can't pursue an opportunity you don't believe is available to you. Your beliefs decide what you notice, and what you notice decides what you act on. That's what people are really describing when they talk about manifestation, and it gets misunderstood as sitting still and hoping. Confidence makes you act, acting creates opportunity, and opportunity creates money. Your expectations decide which opportunities you even notice, and if you believe nothing is out there for you, you'll scroll past the same posting another woman applies to. Money is an internal game before it's an external one. Your habits, your discipline, whether you keep learning, whether you can pivot when something stops working, how fast you get back up after a setback. Now, the economy is hard right now, but two women in the same economy can end up in completely different places because of how they think. Financial stress narrows your thinking and it keeps you stuck for years. When you're in survival mode, counting down to payday and moving money around to cover one bill with another, robbing Peter to pay Paul, your brain shrinks down to the problem right in front of you. That's how the brain works under pressure, but it means you stop being able to think past this month. You can't see possibilities because you're busy putting out fires, and long term planning starts to feel like something you can only do when you're not drowning. When you're trying to figure out how to make rent, you're not thinking about buying commercial property. Your brain is stuck on this month's bills, and your perception is limited to solving a problem that's more immediate than perceiving a grander picture. So, scarcity keeps you broke and then changes what you're able to imagine, which is how it keeps you broke longer. You set your own price long in advance, and you set it based on what you've been paid before instead of what you can actually do. If you grew up watching everybody around you struggle, a certain income starts to feel like the ceiling for somebody like you. So you don't apply for the job, that's a stretch. You don't raise your prices, and you don't ask for the promotion. So you never find out what the market would have paid you because you talked yourself out of asking. You earn according to the kind of woman you believe you are. There's a number that feels normal for somebody like you, and anything above it feels like it belongs to a different type of person. You'll look at a certain lifestyle, and something in you says, that isn't for people like me. So before you ever sit across from your employer, you've already talked yourself down to a number. And you did it based on an idea of yourself you formed long before you had a job. And being able to earn money is one thing, feeling like you're allowed to have it is another. Watch what happens when you charge for your work. You'll quote a price and immediately start explaining why it costs what it costs. And then you'll knock it down because you don't believe your work is worth what you asked for. So you throw in extra hours to justify a rate that was already too low. And then you apologize on top of it. And you might hit a certain income and start undoing it, spending it down, giving it away, taking on obligations that eat it up because having that much feels wrong to you. That's guilt about receiving, and it will cap you just as hard as any employer. And you might be afraid of being wealthy, which sounds backwards until you look at what wealth brings with it: more responsibility, more visibility, more people expecting things from you, more envy pointed in your direction, and harder decisions to make. Staying financially small keeps you out of all of that. So there's a part of you that would rather stay where you are than deal with what success would ask of you. You avoid risk completely because failing feels catastrophic. So you stay in the safe job at the safe pay rate with the safe plan. But staying safe costs you money too, and you never see that cost added up anywhere. The money you didn't make because you didn't try, the business you never started, the pay rate you never asked for. Fear of failure costs more than most failures do. And calculated risk means you looked at what you could lose and decided you'd survive it. Reckless means you didn't look at all. Comparison is expensive too, and it's hard to catch because it feels productive. Your brain processed watching somebody build as participating in building. So you close Instagram feeling like you made progress on your own goals. You didn't. When you spend hours upon hours of your own time doom scrolling, studying what other women are doing, and consuming everything about their come up, nothing of yours is getting built. And you can stay stagnant for years, waiting until you know enough, waiting until it's perfect, researching one more thing before you start. This is called analysis paralysis, and you need to take actionable steps to build wealth. Because financial freedom starts with how you see yourself. A woman who believes she can create value will keep finding ways to do it in any economy, under any administration, after any layoff. And a woman who believes her income is something handed to her will keep waiting on somebody to hand it over. The economy decides a lot of things. It doesn't get to decide which one of those women you are. What's the skill you already have that you never thought to charge for? And if you've been through a layoff or a job search that went nowhere, what did it teach you about depending on one income? Tell me about it down below. Share this, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.